Of course they should. He's been an unbelievable servant to the club. I don't want him to leave. I think that it's something that people will always throw at him. He's such a loyal person, human being, that he would be a real entrant to leave the club. But I think that there comes a point where, of course, why would he not want to move on and win things if he doesn't feel it's attainable at Tottenham? And of course, I'd say the last since Poch has gone, it's been 2 or 3 very disappointing years where we haven't really looked like winning anything. So fingers crossed, Spurs appoint the right man, a man that Harry believes in and believes that can possibly win trophies at the club. But if not, and he decides that maybe he does want to move on, I think the fans have got to be fair with him for everything that he's given the club. I think he'll tempt him for sure, but there's no guarantee if he goes to Manchester United he's going to win trophies. Of course, I feel like the only club that you can go to that can almost guarantee it is Manchester City at the moment, the way that they've gone over the last decade. But Manchester United, I see Harry Kane in Manchester United's team, I see it's a very good chance of winning trophies. So I think it suits both parties probably. That would be a very good move for him. So yeah, I think he'll be tempted. I think it's behind the scenes. I'm sure he'll be speaking to the chairman, and not just about his own situation, but who they're looking to get in to be manager. So I feel like this is his contract runs out next season, and the next season I feel like this is his big contract. His last huge decision for him. And I'm not surprised he hasn't committed to anything yet. It's a difficult one, really. I just feel like defensively, I feel like we need a world-class centre-back. I just feel like I'm always a little bit worried when watching that mistakes are there, or rash challenges from a Romero or something like that. It just, I think that you watch, you think that you don't feel safe watching. You feel like there's always a mistake coming, and that's not ideal. Especially the way teams play now, they all want to play out from the back. I just feel like, there's been a lot of goals that could have been stopped, and that's frustrating to watch sometimes. And I just get it in the other half and go, play from there at times. Yes, it's we all need to see wonderful football out from the back. There's certain times where you got to get rid of it. But in terms of the player, I think the sort of player that the club are missing is probably like the Christian Eriksen type. I feel like when you are in tight games, and when Christian was there and teams would sit very deep, make it difficult for us to play, he had that magic to make things happen, to create an opportunity out of nothing. And I feel like we have very good players still in midfield, but they're all a little bit similar, more holding type players. Haven't got that little bit, that vision and that magic that Christian Eriksen had. So I feel like that's the sort of player that the club are missing at the moment, if I had to pinpoint anything. It was great. I think that a couple of weeks ago I had a reunion of my old youth team at Portsmouth, which was amazing. Some people haven't seen for 20, 30 years, and when you see those guys, it brings back memories of how you felt in those days, and to be all 16 to 18, and that dream of to be a professional footballer is one thing, which of course I was able to do at Portsmouth, and then be part of a team that went on a great run in the Jim Smith FA Cup semi-final, and what came with that was lots of talk about myself, Andy Orford, John Beresford, Darryl Powell, Mark Gould, Kit Simons maybe moving on, and the clubs that were. I remember around February, March that year, we won our FA Cup run. I remember like some of the older players, like your Warren Aspinalls and people that would come down into the training and go, "Oh my God, you want to see the director's box? You better play well tonight, Darren," and all that. It was like, it was nuts. It really was. It all seemed to happen really quickly. And then when and of course to read about it, of course it gives you incredible amount of confidence, and you really do feel like you're living the dream. And there's an opportunity that we're going to have a career. And then at the end of the year, we should have been, so unlucky against Liverpool in the FA Cup semi-final. And then I got the call from Jim Smith that, Terry Venables wanted to sign me. And I honestly don't think I was ready to leave. I think I'd only had one full season, and, we had, what a successful season it was to get to that semi-final. So I kind of said to Jim, so what do I do? He said, well, you got to go and speak to him. But it's an opportunity of a lifetime. And of course I did. And once I met Terry, I signed there and then. It didn't matter anything. What a man, the biggest influence on my career. So to answer your question, it was great. It was exciting, and something that always I look back on as, one of the nicer times during my career, because there's lots of ups and downs throughout the career, but as a youngster coming through, it just feels like everything's on the up, and everything's a goal you're trying to reach, and there's talk in the papers, there's talk everywhere, and that it could happen. It would have to be Gaza. I mean, he's a genius. I think it's as simple as that. A great guy. I remember watching Italia 90 as a kid, teenager. Just what a player. To then, make my England debut with him, playing Euros with him. I mean, he was a genius. He really was, and could do. He was so strong. He could do things. I watched him do things from afar. I was in awe of it, and then to be part of the same England setup and watch him day in day out do that was incredible. Loved playing, with Gaza, and then of course, at Tottenham, I'd say, Klinsmann, unbelievable, but probably the best at Tottenham would probably be Teddy Sheringham, just an incredible footballer, football brain. Anyone who played with him became a better player because he was that clever. He made people look better. When I had the ball, he made things easy for me. I knew where he was going to be. He made great movement, and his finishing was better than anyone. Just the way he used to pass the ball into the net, didn't have to lash everything, as we would say, but everything was a pass into the corner, to the top corner, into the headers. Different. I mean, he had it. It was great. I just loved it. I feel like, as a kid, that was the dream, to go to a World Cup, to play for England. And that season I had some injury problems and it looked like I was struggling. Luckily, Glenn Hoddle really wanted me in the team. He made it pretty clear to me. And so when I was struggling with, like I spoke about earlier, the medical team that we had at Spurs, he took it within his own hands to use one of his physios to see me out of hours, as it were. I would go around to Terry Burns' house, who was actually the masseur at the time with England and Chelsea, to go out running with him, to get massages, to get treatment, in order to get myself fit for the tournament, because it was getting pretty close, and the treatment I was getting and the diagnosis I was getting was not great. And so to be within that squad and get told, which we all did on a Sunday afternoon in La Manga. Biggest thing I probably remember is the fact that Gaza wasn't in the squad, and then of course he lost it, and the room got scratched up a little bit, I think. But then but on a personal note, of course, it was everything I'd ever dreamed of, to go to the tournament. Great squad, great lads, youngsters. Everyone obviously talks about Euro '96, but then, so off of the back of that, you then had the youngsters coming through. Bex, Gary Neville was also part of Euro '96, of course. Bex, Michael Owen, Sol, Scholesy. I mean, shut those four into what we already had. I mean, we had a real chance of winning it. I think we all felt. And unfortunately, of course, we weren't out on penalties. But the atmosphere within the squad was a great squad. Definitely a different feel to it. Glenn Hoddle's squad compared to a Terry Venables squad. There's no chance of any dentist chairs or anything like that. But we had a different sort of night out, which would involve a bit of dinner and things like that. But it was a good squad, a good balance, good mix of lads, and a real belief that we could win it. the atmosphere for the Argentina game was incredible. I think the never turned up to a game before, 2 hours before, and literally the stadium was full. And the Argentinian fans surprised me at just how noisy and intense and intimidating they were. It was crazy. I think that, we played the 3 games before, and it felt like obviously a home game. Being in France, so our fans are a different class. But the Argentinians and the atmosphere with the fans going at it an hour and a half before the game was insane. And it turned out to be a classic game of football. I think the first half was one of the best halves of football I ever played in. Back and forth, and I think we were different class, and deserved to probably be 3-1, 4-1 up, but they nicked an equaliser on half time. And the rest is history. Bex got sent off and everything else, and of course you're left with bad memories of the night instead of good memories. I think my favourite moment would be scoring in the World Cup. I think that's something, as a kid in our garden back in Southampton, I would be dreaming of doing and smashing in our garage door over many, many years, dreaming of that moment. So to do that, I think was an incredible moment. I feel like it was a pretty good goal as well. As I had, Michael Owen crossed it, that was cleared out, and the touch was good, and to smash it into the top corner was a feeling like no other probably had in my life. So that would obviously is right up there. My best goal for Spurs was probably against Leeds in an FA Cup game, classic FA Cup game, which we won 2-0 the replay, probably from 35 yards, and I hit it with a bit of fade, as we would say, and as soon as I hit it, you just know that it's going into the top corner and off the post. Nigel Martin diving for it, which was we won the game 2-0. David Ginola scored a great goal after that, and then I would say the one against Sweden for England, the Umbro Cup, last minute, and I scored a goal on the half volley. Alan Shearer headed it back to me, and I just took it. As the ball was rising, it was difficult technique to keep the ball down, and I just called it sweet as hell. With both feet off the ground, almost like a scissor kick, karate kick, and it went in off both posts, and it made it even more dramatic at Ellen Road in the last minute. So that was always got those 3, especially ones that I feel people will speak to me about in the streets or wherever it may be, and they remember those, and I certainly do as well. David Seaman in goal, probably. I would say Scholesy, Teddy, Jurgen Klinsmann, probably Sol.